Hey, it's Tony Bruschi, and this is our week in review over the weekend, taking a look back at some of the most compelling conversations and stories that we've covered for you of the last week. Brand new episodes back Monday morning, bright and early, 5 a.m. here on the podcast.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers podcast
with Tony Bruschi.
There's a lot of cases that we follow for you right here, and when there's not a lot of new developments, sometimes it doesn't get talked about as much as it should. One of those cases that I'm always keeping an eye on and hoping there's some development is the Madeline Kingsbury case. Missing woman that probably is presumed dead at this point. Of course, they are still searching for her, searching riverbeds and things of that nature now that the water levels have gone down a bit. I want to do a refresher on this story for everyone in case they're not super familiar with it. Jennifer Coffindaffer, retired FBI special agent, is with us. Take us back to where this all starts.
Well, it's one of these cases that I think everyone is concerned that her significant other, who they're not actually married, but they do have children together, is connected with her disappearance. Mm-hmm. That's, of course, the undertone, the elephant in the room on this particular case. She disappeared. There is absolutely really not a viable trace of her. They keep looking at waterways. There's a lot of speculation as to whether, did she take her life? Did did something nefarious happen with her significant other being behind it? I think that's where most people are leaning. But unfortunately, this is one of these cases that just doesn't have a smoking gun or really even a good trail of breadcrumbs, as we've seen in many other cases. And so obviously from the search efforts, we know that law enforcement believes she is in one of those waterways. That's clear that that's their focus. But it's a case that we just don't have a lot of evidence.
Obviously, everyone's looking for, the finger to point at somebody for the boogeyman in this. And they may or may not be somewhere. Something like this where it is so cold and there's not a lot of breadcrumbs, if any, including those that, the obvious suspects, the significant other and such, everyone wants to look at. But if that's not really pointing much up and nothing's really pointing much up, could we be looking at a case here where maybe she took her own life, went off somewhere one day or something accidentally happened to her, or this point to more foul play in what we know about her personality and her life?
Well, both are going to be strongly considered, Tony, and I really do believe that law enforcement, although they have a lid on this, I believe law enforcement has some sort of idea and way they're going. This is really a case where we just don't, as the public, have any meat on the bone really in either direction, other than something is leading them toward these waterways. So I think that is significant. But what's really, sticks out to me is they've done quite a job of keeping the lid on what they're looking at and where the compass needle is pointing. Other than Tony, you'll recall, the children have been taken away from him. They went in there and they got them. And really, in my opinion, with kind of flimsy reasoning. Oh, he didn't have a car seat for one of them. And, it's pretty flimsy. And when I see something like that, to me, it looks like they are looking at him. They do have concerns and they don't want those children in harm's way. Mm-hmm. That's what it speaks to me. So I think the direction of the case, Tony, isn't really suicide. I think they have to consider that. But I think they're looking at the significant other.
And not doing anything yet because maybe they don't have enough evidence to make an arrest at this point, or what would be holding them back on something like that?
That's exactly right. They don't have enough evidence to take him in. Oftentimes in these cases, there's a placeholder, right? Sometimes, for example, if you look at the Adam Montgomery case, he right now is going to trial on weapons charges.
Yes.
But he's also charged with her murder, Harmony Montgomery, his daughter's bludgeoning and murder. And so, but they always had that placeholder with him because they found other crimes they could put him in for why they developed the big case, remember, which took months and months and months. Yeah. I think it's the situation here is they don't have a placeholder. This isn't, a career criminal like Adam Montgomery was. Yeah. So there's no placeholder.
And we'll just have to wait to see if they ever do develop enough then to make an arrest. If they found a body, if they do end up finding her remains, is that, on the surface enough to make an arrest? Now we would then know officially that she is dead, or would they still need more pieces and true pieces to connect a suspect to the body itself?
Well, a body is crucial because if they find that body, Tony, they're most likely going to be able to say whether this was suicide or whether it was homicide. Or accidental. I mean, the ME is going to make a determination. And once that determination is made, they can go forward. In other words, if it is a homicide, if that's what's ruled, death to another, by another, then you bet that's going to bolster at least the fact that they have a homicide on their hands, certainly. And that will help bolster their case. And specifically, oftentimes they know exactly how it happened. Not always, but if it was a gun involved, they're going to know that quite likely, depending on the remains they find. They're going to be able to make so many more determinations, and that's why you can see clearly their focus is on finding her.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
Retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer, thank you for being with us and giving us your insight. Always very much appreciated. If you want an ad-free experience of the show, you can get it through Apple Podcasts. Just become a premium subscriber there, and you become a subscriber to the True Crime Today family. There you'll get access to not only this podcast, but all of our podcasts commercial-free. Check it out. We cover all sorts of different cases, which you will see there when you become a premium subscriber, and you can follow them individually. You can follow them all here on this show because we kind of do the cornucopia of all the cases here. But if there's just one specific you want to follow, we got that option for you right there on Apple Podcasts. Do check that out. Even try it for 3 days free. I'm Tony Bruschi. Stay with us.